Okay, hello everyone and welcome to RigER webinars. Today we will talk about rental fleet management and special rental operations in RigER. Today we will talk about the rental fleet management and let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I'm CEO at RigER, and please follow us on social media, very popular Instagram and LinkedIn, as well Twitter and Facebook. And let's move forward. So today's agenda is very short, very condensed, and sweet. And we have three presenters: Arsen, Indra, and Gleb. And we will talk about rental fleet management. We'll talk about rental fleet structure, rental unit statuses, different departments, type, rental fleet special operations like assembly, transfer, sales, disposals, and a little bit about rental processes at all. And this webinar is a third part of the webinar cycles, which we build starting from the rental service agreement. We talk about rental tickets and fuel tickets, and today is the final part when we talk about all the transactions with the rental units. And let me introduce RigER and Belkasoft as a company, and a little bit talk about what we do. So Belkasoft is a software development management consulting company focusing on the oilfield rentals and service operations. And our main core focus and values which we bring to the industry is a paperless enterprise, custom solutions, and the integration with other softwares. And our flagship product is RigER, and right now we have a product family like RigER Cloud, RigER Mobile, and different applications for different industrial needs, like downhole tools, waste management, etc. So we are very active in US, especially Texas and Canada, and we have a very good news. Last week, we nominated as a Consultancy of the Year for Oil and Gas Award in Texas. And thank you very much for your support, for all your good words about our team, and very proud to be there. So thank you so much to our clients, which give us an opportunity to develop our product, to make our product more stronger and rich or feature rich. And when we talk about different type of the equipment, it's come from the drilling rigs to the rig mats to the downhole tools, portable toilets, lots of different type of the equipment. And let's talk about rental fleets, and let's talk about how we manage the rental fleet. And I will pass the mic to Gleb Kobits, VP of Operations, and he will talk about rental fleet structure.
Thank you very much, Michael. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Gleb Kobits. I'm VP of Operations in RigER, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the rental fleet structure, how you can organize your rental fleet in RigER. So first of all, just a quick overview of options that you have in terms of putting your different equipment in the system. So RigER can accommodate different kind of equipment and types of equipment. So we basically call all the equipment and records in the system in terms of rental equipment, we call it rental units. So the rental unit is the type of the equipment. For example, it can be light tower, it can be a drilling motor, it can be trash tray, etc., or a dumpster. Under the rental units, we also can have a unit numbers, so it's individual asset numbers that can be tracked separately, and usually unit number is a unique identifier of a particular piece of equipment. Also, RigER allows you to build kits and bundles. We will be talking about this a little bit later. As I said, we track all the equipment by serial numbers or unit numbers, or some companies usually, sometimes they call it SKUs also. And we are able to track your sub-rental equipment. So that's the equipment that you re-rent to your customer from the vendors that you take for a job or for a long time operations. So we call it sub-rental module. Also, RigER is able to track your vendors' information and warranties about the rental equipment. So we can put it in the system and you can present it to your customers and track all these records internally in the system. Also, RigER allows you to track your services and repair operations, maintenance, inspection of all the equipment. So the system collects all this data and presents it in the reports. So now let's take a closer look at the rental fleet structure. Basically, RigER has the rental units as a separate item with the unit numbers, but it also allows you to combine and to build the folders or some kind of buckets of the rental equipment where you can put the similar equipment into the folder. So that allows you to easily navigate the system and easily navigate the list of the equipment by different types of equipment. Also, it just presents the better view of the whole rental fleet. And these folders or groups of the items are used for the reporting purposes. So we can build reports based on that types and groups of the equipment. So now let's talk about the rental unit itself. So on your screen, you can see the example of the rental item in the system. So it's a generator 100 kilowatts, and it has a type of rental unit. So it means that we can assign a particular unit number for a generator and track it separately. Also, you may have a goods and materials types of units. Also, you can track your services or build a combo units. Now, as I already said, every rental unit may have unit numbers, and we call it serialized rental units. So under the generator 100 kilowatts, we have a number of unit numbers. In this case, it's 44 individual assets that we can track. And every single unit number will have its own information about the model of this asset number, the manufacturer serial number, and the year when this unit has been built. And also each unit number can have the history of maintenance events or repairs or inspections. So that's the important part why we track everything by unit numbers, because we can accommodate and we can collect the history of these units operations. Also, RigER allows you to track unserialized rental units. If you have units without serial numbers, sometimes it can be hoses or access mats or some kind of small parts that you don't track separately. We can set a unit number without unit numbers, and all these rental units will be tracked only by quantity. So the main difference between serialized and unserialized items in RigER is that you are able to track it by quantities in case of unserialized items, or by a particular unit number that you'll be able to select in the documents and track it separately. Now let me pass the mic to Indra Kringileti, and she will talk about the rental units statuses.
Thank you, Gleb. Hello, everyone. My name is Indra, and I'm user support technician in RigER. And today I'll be talking about rental unit statuses in RigER. So RigER has different rental unit statuses for rental unit tracking and managing in the system. And RigER tracks equipment by different statuses. Each status represents different stage or work condition of the rental unit number at particular date and time. On the screen, you can see available statuses for rental unit numbers in RigER to track your equipment in the system. And every single unit number can have each of these statuses depending on the job stage or unit condition. Unit number status starts with no status when it's created in the system, and when it gets purchased, it gets a status ready for rent. It means this unit can be selected in rental tickets and dispatched for the job, and etc. Each unit number status is changed. The change is triggered by the event in the system, and as an event trigger system identifies different types of documents creation and posting in the system. It means that when you generate a particular type of document or you set a particular condition in the document, it triggers a unit number status change. For example, unit number can become the status ready for rent after rental ticket return is generated and unit is returned from the job, or when a repair ticket is generated after the unit was in status need repair. Also, unit can get ready for rent status after the bill of lading or initial balance document is generated in the system, which means that the unit was purchased. And the last document triggering this status change is ready for rent, is inspection card. The next status is reserved. This status is triggered by rental unit reservation document. Unit number is reserved for particular job. And after the reservation is done, when you generate a rental ticket delivery, the unit number gets status deployed. It shows that the unit is delivered to client's location for the job and is on rent. The status is triggered, as I said, by rental ticket delivery generation in RigER system. The next status is the RACT. The RACT status is for unit number, means that the unit is on client's location, but the rental period is not started yet. This unit status can be triggered by two documents. One is rental break note and another document is rental ticket with specific condition. For example, the deployment date is later than the rental ticket document date itself. The same is for rental ticket return. It can trigger unit status RACT when the return date is later than ticket date itself. In the next slide, we can see are the available statuses for units in RigER system. Another unit status used in RigER system is lost. It can be triggered by the rental ticket return. And when we return equipment after a job, we have an option to select different conditions for the unit number. One of them is lost. For inspection status, unit number can be triggered by the status change can be triggered by rental ticket, both delivery and return ticket. If you need to run an inspection for unit number before or after the unit move, you are able to proceed an inspection in RigER system. For inspection status, unit number gets when inspection card document is generated in the system, and the status switched to ready for rent after the inspection is proceed and inspection card is finished. Need repair status. This status is triggered by the repair ticket. If after return from the job or even when unit sits on your shop, yard or warehouse, and we notice that it requires a repair, the status need repair can be set by setting a condition for the unit as need repair on rental ticket, or if you generate defective unit list document for local repairs. And when unit is in status need repair, system does not allow to select this unit for the next job and dispatch until the repair is done. So in the next slide, we can see a few more statuses for rental unit numbers in RigER system. We have one of the statuses assembled for rental equipment. The status is triggered by assembly list document in the system, and it means that unit was used as a component into one big assembly unit. In case if we need to sell equipment to the customers, unit number gets a status sold after sales ticket is generated. And we can sell unit by setting a particular condition on rental ticket, and after generating a sales ticket document in the system, the unit status is changed to sold. And the last status, what I would like to mention, is no status in the system. It's the initial status of unit number in RigER system, and the status is triggered by new record entry in RigER. And these are all the statuses for rental unit numbers used in RigER. And in this slide, I would like to show you a few documents and dashboards where you can see statuses of unit numbers, or you can check the status of unit number by particular time and date. As you can see, you can find unit number statuses, which was on particular time and date on the home screen when you select a unit number dashboard. And in the next slide, you can see that another location where you can see a current status for particular rental unit is the rental unit card. And when you click on unit numbers tab, you can find all available unit numbers for this rental unit and check the statuses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Indre. And now we are switching to the next topic of today's presentation, which is departments. How you can organize your equipment and your workforce in terms of this organization structure. So Arsen, please welcome.
Thank you, Gleb. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about departments. Now, in real life, you do have departments and divisions in your system. You do have equipment that you store somewhere, and that storage you call like a shop or a warehouse or something else like a yard. Now, in RigER, we do have the variable called departments, which addresses all these subjects, meaning the shops, the yards, the physical departments that you have in your business. And you just can create and mirror every single department or the shop that you have in real life in the database in RigER. So in your screen right now, you can see a sample list of warehouses that we have in system. And you can see the actual department creation card. You just have to input the name, the description of the yard or a shop or a department that you are creating, select the type, and basically you are good to go. So the departments themselves in RigER system are very extensively used in different kind of documents, and one of those documents would be one of the types of those documents would be the tickets, the rental tickets, the field tickets, etc. Now, obviously, when you are deploying some equipment, in this example, you can see the rental ticket type service as a screenshot. When you are deploying equipment, you can see that you need to select the actual shop that you will be deploying your equipment from. So obviously you will need to know where your equipment is physically, and you will need to have that equipment assigned to that particular shop in your actual system, in your actual RigER database. So you select the shop in the ticket and you move on to your further operations. Obviously, you will need to purchase some consumables or new equipment, and you will also need to assign those to a certain shop or a yard. So the yards department's variable is also used in purchase documents. And if you're wondering, in case you wonder where else we can use departments or shops and yards, these are some types of documents that we actually have utilized the department in, like the internal job ticket when you do an internal jobs in your warehouses, the sales ticket, the RSA actually where you need to select the actual department that you are working on, and the intercompany transfer from one yard to another yard that you have. the list goes on. I mean, you can use it in HR module, you can use it in sales module, etc. So department is, as we said, a very important variable in the system, and it will mirror all your organizational structure from real life to the RigER database. This is everything for the departments.
And now we come to the mid of our webinar, and we are ready to answer your questions. And please let us know if you have any. You can go to the Zoom and open the section, raise your hand, and just type. And I see that we have a first one. Gleb, can you read it?
Yeah, the questions that I've got is actually in relation to the last topic that we have discussed, and the question is actually, what's basically the difference between departments and warehouses?
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, usually when we start using the system and when we do those like organization structure entering, we see that there are two like main things in organization charts. It will be yards or shops, warehouses. This is the way where we track equipment and consumables. The warehouses is mostly focusing on the tracking of the equipment. And another category will be departments where we have employees. So all the field technicians or sales can be organized in a different way. So that is why we have two different categories. And warehouses is more for rental units, and departments is more for employees. This is the difference, because we face the situation when we have one yard and several departments in it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Another question that just came in is about the unit number statuses. So, and Peter is asking how we can switch the unit number status in the system.
So the unit number status. So first of all, the status only belongs to the serialized items, so the unit numbers. And we have unserialized items, which the status is a bit more complex. And yeah, this is exactly this picture. So, and the only way how you can change the status in the system is a document or event, because the status changes on the particular date and time, and you need to have this as the trigger to change the status. And we have no ability, I understand that we have no ability to change status manually, because it causes lots of issues. And the user should be very careful about the statuses, because the status like directly affect the availability of the units, or in some cases it could be a big issues when they couldn't find the unit in the system, and it's not lost to the unit, it's just a different status. Say, for example, you'd like to have like a ready-to-rent status, and you'd like to send something to the field from the shop, but the equipment not passed inspection so far, or at the repair. So it's a different status. So you need to finish or previous process in system, and after that use this unit for the next job.
Okay, good. I think that's pretty much clear about the unit number statuses. And another question that we have as of now is in regards to the departments again. So the question sounds like, is there a limited number of departments or shops that we can have in the system? And is there predefined list of departments, or it's pretty flexible?
No, it's very flexible, and moreover, you can build groups of the departments. Moreover, for very complex structure of the organization, we can combine departments by regions or sales areas. So it could be like kind of hierarchy of the departments, and kind of hierarchy will define the reporting structure of the system.
Okay, good. I don't have any other questions as of now, so we can move on to the next part of our presentation, and we're going to talk about the assemblies. So as I said at the beginning of this presentation, one of the types of the rental unit can be rental unit itself, combo unit, or we have another option, which is the assembly. Assembly is actually the type of the unit where we can combine different components together and just to build a new assembly unit that you will be charging client with in the invoice. So the assembly allows you to track individual components on it, even by particular unit numbers. But again, on the documents, print forms, in the tickets, or on the invoice, you can show the customer only the assembly unit, which will be the unit that the customer will see at his location. So the benefits of using assembly is that this is just one price for the whole unit. So you don't charge individual items, individual components to the customer. You charge just a price for the assembly unit. Also, it may have almost unlimited number of components included. And those components, again, will be tracked separately. And you can use this assembly rental unit for the multiple jobs and for the long period of time. Say, if you physically combine say light tower with a generator and maybe a fuel tank, so you physically bolt them together, and you just submit this rental unit to the client's location for a number of jobs or even months or sometimes years. So the system allows you to track this unit throughout the number of jobs. Also, you may have different kind of operations with the assembly list, because first you start bringing the components together and you build the assembly. So this document assembly list will have a type of assembling. But sometimes it happens that you need to disassemble the unit to do some repairs or maintenance on the components. So again, system will allow you to disassemble unit and bring the individual components to their initial stage and to be the individual rental items available for the dispatch. The next type of the assembly list is the replace. Replace type allows you to just to swap a particular component of the assembly list and to replace it with a new one. And the final on the list is the purchases type, which actually allows you to purchase the whole assembly unit and bring it to the availability dashboard for the dispatcher. On that slide, you can see the assembly life cycle. Just to give you a little bit more understanding how assembly rental unit works in the system and in the documents. So we start creating assembly list, we combine different components, and we assign the price for the assembly list. Now we are able to generate a job, and we start with a rental service agreement. We put the assembly rental unit in the rental agreement with a price predefined, and then on the rental ticket, when we start the job, we put the assembly rental unit with its individual unit number. Then when the job is done, we return the equipment back, we generate a rental ticket return, and we just bring the assembly rental unit back to the warehouse, and we can do disassemble or replace of the components. Recently developed feature is the assembly import, where you are able to do the bulk import of your assemblies in the system. We usually do this on the onboarding stage of our project. So when we just build the rental fleet in RigER, and we can upload the whole structure of your assembly units with the components, with all the individual asset numbers from the Excel spreadsheet. So, and that assembly import tool allows us to build literally hundreds of assemblies automatically. So now let's talk a little bit about the transfers of the rental equipment between different locations, and Indra will tell you about this.
Thank you, Gleb. So I will talk a little bit about intercompany transfers in RigER system. Intercompany transfer allows you to move your inventory such as goods, materials, parts, rental units between different departments, shop, yards, and warehouses. And in the next slide, you can see an intercompany transfer document generated in RigER system. When you are transferring equipment from one department to another, you need to generate intercompany transfer document. It's important to select the correct document date in this document because it identifies the date of movement of equipment or parts. Also, you have to select the location from where you are transferring the unit to location 2, where the unit is going. And intercompany transfer document gives you an option to select a way how you are moving the equipment. You can select that it will be moved by a carrier and add all the information about the carrier, or it can be moved by your own technician and select which field technician will be moving the equipment. Also, in this document, you have an option to change the home department of the moved equipment. It is important to mention that a home department is used for equipment utilization, and also it defines which department's manager is responsible for the equipment. And for example, when you are moving equipment from one department to another, and if you update a home department for that rental unit, for that equipment, so it means that manager after the move is no longer responsible for the equipment. So this is the intercompany transfer in RigER system. And in the next slide, you can see the movement of rental equipment in inventory turnover report. And in this slide, you can see that equipment by intercompany document was removed from the balance from one shop, and it was added the balance to another shop. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Indra. Let's jump to the next interesting topic of our presentation, which is the rental unit sales. And Michael, please tell us about this.
Yeah, when we talk about all the transactions with the rental units, definitely the most important and most common will be rental operations. However, sometimes it's time to sell the units, and to do that, we have a specific application, specific module, which we call sales, and it's a pretty straightforward form. And you can start from the sales order, then go to the sales shipment and sales invoice. So like 3 documents in a chain, pretty much the same which we have for the purchases. So just like a reflection of this according to the sales. And the sales module, we have a sales order, invoices, and sales shipment. It will available at the sales menu. Next, the sales order, where we can put the item, we will put the price and put the billing shipping address and department when it come from. Definitely we'll put the client PO number, etc. All those necessary information. If we have any specific services, we can add those services, and all the sales and the comments is usually in RigER, we can add as an additional tab. The next document will be the sales shipment, and sales shipment, this is the document where we will select the particular unit number and for which we sell. And after that document, the status of this particular unit number will switch from ready to rent to sold. and it will stay in the system forever with status sold. Okay, definitely you can hide the status from the general view, but answer the popular question how we can delete this item. It's not possible. It will stay in the system. And to finalize the transaction, we need to do the sales invoice. And the sales invoice generated based on the sales shipment usually is the same day of the shipment, same day we generate invoice. And again, it's pretty simple and pretty more straightforward document. The next step is to see all your sales and see how this reflected on the rental unit status. So the rental fleet can be decreased by sales of items.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Now let's move to another point, what we have on our agenda, and this is the item disposal, which will be covered by Arsen.
Yes, thank you, Gleb. And it's pretty simple, to say the least. Now, often you will also need to dispose alongside the selling of the item, the rental unit, the actual one. You'll also need to dispose one. And for the disposal purpose, we have a simple document in the system. It's called the item disposal. It looks like this. You just open it up, you just select the date, you input the shop and just the items that you need to dispose and just post it in the system. Now, after posting this document, the item gets the status scrapped and is left in the system. So this is basically everything you need to do to dispose an item in RigER.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move to another point of our presentation. And once we have described for you the basics of the system in terms of the setup of rental fleet, and then organize it all in the different documents, changing the statuses of the unit numbers, and also how to operate the rental fleet in terms of sales and disposal. Now let's talk a little bit about the rental processes, how everything aligns with a company business practice, and how we can use the rental fleet for our rental and service operations.
For sure. The entire rental processes could be different, and really depends on the type of the equipment, the business practice of the particular company. And we can start from a very, very simple and easy job when we have two main statuses of the rental units. It will be ready to rent and deployed. Deployed means that the item moved to the location, it's at the client location in the field, and start generating rental fee. So it's generating money, actually. And we have two tickets, delivery and return, and those tickets will switch status from ready to rent to deployed, and from deployed to ready to rent accordingly. And this is a very, very simple and very easy picture, which will show us the status of every particular rental units. And if we open rental units calendar, we will see a list of our rental units. Say, for example, here we see the light towers for August, and we see every single light tower, and every day we see the different status. So some of the items deployed, some of the items ready to rent. Yeah, some of the items have no status so far. It means the no status is very interesting point. No status means that items are in the system, but we need to do like something that to show that they become available. And we have actually three different ways how the item can become available from no status to ready to rent. It will be purchases, so from the bill of lading. It will be sub-rental ticket in when we take sub-rental equipment from our vendor, and it will be initial balances, which will usually we do the initial balances when we import data from very first time when implement the RigER. Sometimes the job can be a little bit more extensive, more complex when we add repairs to the statuses, and after every single job we can have a repair card, and the trigger for repairs could be as condition of the unit in the rental ticket return, and this condition can be automatically generate the repair card, and the repair card, when we finish the repair, it will move equipment back to ready to rent. It really depends on the processes. It could be a very complex, and when we move forward, we will see a very complex task which we build for one of our clients just recently, and it moves like more advanced job. So yeah, so here we have more stages, more processes, and more interesting situation when we have a reservation of the unit. Say, for example, we have a ready-to-rent unit, and we have an incoming job, and we'd like to reserve this unit to assign this unit to the particular job, and this will protect us from somehow, so we will not use the same unit and we prepare for the job. Then when we move equipment to the field, it could be in a status rack, because in some cases it's not start generate a rental fee or rental income until we set up and install it. So different types of equipment require different setup and different settings in the field. So it could be a couple of days of that status. And after that, it's switched to the deployed status when we start the rental period. However, some of the units after the job require the inspection, so we check if it's in a good condition or not. We check, for example, the fuel level, we check the oil level, etc. So, and it could be some kind of an inspection after the rental ticket return. It could be automatically generated an inspection card for every single unit which we return, and the field technician or inspector inspect the unit and decided if it should be repaired or should be returned to the ready to rent status. Say, for example, if it goes to the repairs, the rental inspection card will be generate the repair card, and the repair card after that repair will finish can be returned ready to rent. However, in some complex situation, after the repair, it could be a QC, like quality control, and the quality control again could be a temporary status for ready to rent. So this kind of a process, like a step-by-step, how the status of every single unit can be changed, can be moved every single day. And in this picture, and this very simple situation, we have 1 day, one status. But in real life, it could be 1 second, one status. So the equipment can change the status literally like every second. And that is why you need to be very careful about the date which you use for the documents and the time which you use for the documents, because it could be crucial impact on the rental units availability and rental unit statuses. So it's very important to have this system step-by-step design for rental operations.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. And we've come to the next Q&A session of our presentation today in our webinar. And the question that I've got is in the relation to the sales. So you talked about the sales of the rental equipment and also the disposal. But the question is, can the company sell the equipment if it's a part of the rental job?
Definitely, yes. Very good point. And our example today was about rental equipment sale without rental job. So it's just a separate transaction. However, in some cases, it could be a situation when we have to sell the unit because it's totally damaged and we'd like to reimburse it, or client decided to take it not for the rent but for the owner, to switch the ownership. In this case, based on the rental service agreement, we can generate sales ticket, and the sales ticket will be a trigger to switch status from for the rental unit from deployed to sold. And this amount, like the total revenue, will be added to the final rental invoice in the section sold. So there is some of the type of businesses which we face that kind of situation when you have 2 or 3 items sell after every single job. But usually it's like, again, it really depends on the type of the equipment. And usually like vast majority of companies use this sales ticket when it's lost or totally damaged.
Okay, good. Thank you. And another question that I want to ask is, when we were talking about the unit number statuses, we saw that there are a number of more than 10 unit number statuses available in the system. But is it possible to hide or to remove some of the unit number statuses if the company doesn't need to use them?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Absolutely. And in some cases, it's a it's a second popular question. The first popular question: can we rename the statuses? So definitely yes, we can hide some of the statuses. Which and moreover, if you say, for example, do not use inspection in your operations, the status for inspection will never appear because there is no units, there is no trigger for the units to move to this status because you never use the inspection card. However, the status is ready to rent or sold or deployed will be always in the system. So it really depends on the complexity of the transactions, and in some cases it could be 4 statuses at all, or in some cases could be 5 statuses. Say, for example, if you not use assembly unit, the status assembly will never appear in the system. So totally depends on the complexity of the transactions, and depends on the time of like how you design the entire process. And answer that popular question: can we change, rename these statuses? Usually not, unfortunately. And the reason why we are very conservative about the status names, because we already have number of clients which use them, and we have all the statuses described in knowledge base and webinars like today. So we like to keep consistency and like to have all the statuses in the same name. For some clients, if they have very unique processes, we can enter a new status. We can add the new status to the system and use it. For example, very rare status could be for service, and it really depends on the processes which the company designed for the rental operations.
Okay, that makes sense. And the final question on my list is in regards to the intercompany transfer. So the question sounds like, is it possible to move the rental equipment from the warehouse or from the shop to a truck first and then to the field?
Good question. So not so far, but we're working on it. And this will require some sort of the preparation from the organization standpoint, because in this particular situation, we move equipment from the shop to the trucks, and this control goes to the field technicians. However, there is a big positive impact on the availability, so you can see the real balances in each shop and each yard, because if something will move from the yard, or technicians took some number of items or consumables, you see the real life balances every time. So definitely it's a second on like an extra complexity level for the organization. From an organization standpoint, required tracking all the movements back and forth and even between tracks. But definitely it provides a better situation, better picture for the balances of every single yard. And from sales perspective, because you see, okay, this is your actual balance, and this is what you need to sell.
Okay, thanks a lot. And yeah, I see that we don't have any other questions on our board. And from the time perspective, it looks like we've come to the end of our presentation and the webinar today. But before we end up with our presentation, I'd like to announce the next week webinar that will be about the oilfield inspections. And during this webinar, we're going to discuss how you can maintain your equipment using the inspection module in the system, which allows you to set up a different kind of checklists. And this is very flexible tool to track your equipment checklists. So we will cover the topics about the inspection template setup, how you generate inspection cards in the system, and how you extract reports from your inspection operations. So next week webinar will be held on October 3rd at 1 p.m. Central Time as usual. And what we have also is the next event.
Yes. So the week after, so October 10th, we will have a live presentation of the new version of RigER in Oklahoma Oil and Gas Expo. And if it happened that you are in Oklahoma those days, like October 10th, please come to our booth 317, and we will chat about all new features which we add to RigER. We have a list of more than 30 different different sizes, different features, which we will present in this booth. So please welcome to, and if you'd like to even chat, not about RigER, but about different topics, I will be there, Nikolai will be there. So chat, come to us, and we're happy to meet you there.
Awesome. Good news. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that we wanted to deliver to you today. Thank you very much for your attendance and attention to our content. So if you have any other questions that you haven't had a chance to ask us during this session, please welcome and reach us out. So you can find our contacts on the RigER.us website, or just shoot us an email if you know that. And we'll be happy to talk to you and answer all your questions.
Thank you so much, and see you next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.